and welcome to Salubrious with Dr. Irene. Today I'm talking about vitamins and herbal medicine and how they're beneficial and are they beneficial, and really identifying the impact these elements of health have for us. So vitamin supplements are a huge component of the health industry, which directly represents the impact modern day living has on our health and well-being. Stress, deadlines, children, relationships, life's expectations and demands all contribute to the state of our health. Often people turn to vitamins to feel better, help with restoring sleep, reducing body aches and pains, increasing energy, and help with coping through life's stressors. But do vitamins actually work? The topic of vitamins comes up a lot in my private practice, more from the perspective of what I'm on, is it actually helping me? You know, this vitamin C tablet, this vitamin D tablet, the multivitamin, the fish oil, the CoQ10, all these vitamins, what are they doing? Are they actually helping me? Now, often I reply with a question. How do you feel when you take the vitamins? What impact do you notice on your health? And most of the time, this is a positive thing. People feel more energy, they start to feel better. But let me identify to you what a vitamin actually is. When we consume a vitamin tablet, it's just that one vitamin. And some vitamins do have coactive enzymes or vitamins or ingredients in there as well. But the reality is that when you eat a fruit or vegetable with that vitamin in it, you are getting a huge barrage of additional nutrients that are helping with the absorption and utilization of that vitamin in your body. Now, for instance, when you have an orange, you have vitamin C, but you also have digestive enzymes and other actives in there that will help the vitamin C work effectively in the body. Now, many of us can't have oranges, and so then we look at other sources of vitamin C. Can I have those? Vitamin C tends to be in quite acidic foods, and some people can't tolerate acidic foods. So in that case, we have to look at where else can we get our vitamins from. In my opinion, I would strongly recommend people get their vitamins through food, and organic food is probably the best one. If you can grow your own, that's even better, because then you're not using anything nasty on the fresh fruit and vegetables. But sometimes our body becomes diseased and its requirements for nutrition increase exponentially. So if someone has an immune system issue, frequent colds or an autoimmune disease, they may need more vitamins to help them override that. On the flip side, sometimes we're born with deficiencies. So for instance, people with psoriasis have low levels of glutathione. Their ability to detoxify toxins from entering the body through the liver, well, detoxifying through the liver, is much less than, say, someone without psoriasis. So there are certainly conditions that require an additional need for these vitamins and supplements. So ultimately, I always say to people, you need to eat and live in a way that fulfills your body with as many vitamins and nutrients as you can. If you can't do this, maybe you're dealing with a child who is a fussy eater, then you might want to look at supplementation. But your first point of call is always living in a way that will increase and maximize your nutritional intake to keep your body as healthy as possible. Second to that, you find good vitamins, so good companies that have good quality vitamins. And these are sometimes discussions you need to have with your health practitioner, because we tend to know which companies are researching and doing all the work behind the scenes that are giving great products. Other companies may be driven by different motivations and standards, and so we don't necessarily recommend those. So speak to your natural health practitioner. They are experts in vitamins. You don't speak to your doctor about vitamins because they don't essentially study about it extensively, as a naturopath Chinese medicine practitioner would. They never would do their continued education in the space of vitamins like we do. So really keeping the questions tailored towards the person that has the expertise in that field is really important. The other thing is that herbal medicine versus vitamins. Some people say, oh, what's the point of taking herbs because I'm taking vitamins? Herbal medicine and vitamins work very differently. Vitamins are a specific nutrient that enters the body and helps with a specific physiological process that's required of that vitamin to do. Herbal medicine is almost like a food. Herbal medicine has a huge array of actives, a huge array of nutrients and vitamins in them that make that herb function in the way that it functions. So herb is almost like a food. It's got a multitude of nutrients in there that make the product work well when consumed or when applied topically as well. Herbal medicine is very much utilized for topical ailments and is very beneficial for that. So they're quite different. When we are talking about herbs, we need to extract the actives. So boiling up the herbs is one way of doing it, but this is very time consuming. So what we have available to us now is what we call granules. And the companies that manufacture these products have manufacturing plants that specifically boil each product to their efficacy. So for instance, peppermint only needs to be boiled for 3 minutes, whereas a root like Angelica sinensis needs to be boiled for 60 minutes. So simply putting those together, you wouldn't do that. You would boil the like the thicker fibrous types of herbs longer, and then the flowers and the leaves and the berries, they would be boiled for a shorter period of time, because it needs to be boiled to the point that the actives are extracted without the exacerbation of diminishing the effect of the herbal active. So you don't want to boil it to excess. Like with food, you don't want to steam your veggies where all the actives have literally been extracted and there's nothing left in the vegetable. Herbal medicine is the same thing. So these companies obviously know the materia medica, know what herbs are needed, what period of time they need to be boiled to extract these actives, and they formulate their cooking periods based on individual needs these herbs have. And then taking the liquid and turning it into a solid with a preservative, and then creating the herbal granules that we dispense in clinic. So, and the herbal preservatives are all natural as well, so they're not harmful to your health in any way, shape or form. So that's how herbal medicine is very different and will work differently physiologically to what vitamins do. So that's why when I give herbal medicine to my patients, I additionally might give them vitamins. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I say, well, let's just see how you respond to just the herbs. But in some circumstances, I see the necessity to include the vitamin therapy as well. It's also important that the absorption of vitamins in our food are not tainted with foods that will obstruct that absorption. So foods that are greasy, fatty, have high calorie, low nutrient content, foods that are like alcohol, caffeine will stop the absorption of B vitamins, which essentially B vitamins are for your energy production. And so people with low energy typically turn to coffee for more energy, but in actual fact, they are depleting the vitamin that's actually important to improve energy production. So caffeine is something that people should be avoiding. If you want a cup of coffee because you're meeting up with your friends on a Saturday afternoon, that's fine. But to make it a daily ritual where, you have 2 to 3 cups of coffee or 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day, that really diminishes your vitamins, their ability to be absorbed in your body. And so really important to avoid that. Alcohol, again, is the same thing. A lot of people get into the habit of drinking a glass of wine every night for dinner. It doesn't have to be a daily occurrence. It can be 1 to 2 times a week. It doesn't have to be every single day. These sort of beverages are great for enjoyment, but not great as a regular intake. You know, your regular intake should be herbal teas and your water. Really, essentially, that's where your daily intake. You know, juices and smoothies should be vegetable based. If it's a vegetable based smoothie with one piece of fruit, absolutely. But again, a lot of cold can upset your digestive system, which would lead to minimize absorption of nutrients. So nothing cold and excess. It's best to keep things in moderation and changing them all the time, and keeping diet various and with a huge variety, and really enjoyable. Now, the other thing is handling food well too. You know, making sure that meats are frozen when brought home or cooked, not to be left in the fridge for a period of time. All these things can create bad bacteria and pathogens in it. So it's important to make sure that you are cooking things well to receive the optimal nutrition. Broccoli loses its vitamin C with 1 week of being picked. So another thing with vitamin C is that you will need to make sure that when the broccoli is picked, that's when you're ingesting it. So otherwise there's no vitamin C left in the broccoli. So that's the other thing you need to know when are the fresh produce picked. And that's why I said growing things in your own backyard, you're having them ripened, you're eating them straight away, and that's the ideal situation. It doesn't have to be everything. You don't have to have a huge, 5 acres of land around you to do this. You might just grow your herbs, and that requires only a very small space. Or you might just grow 1 or 2 pieces of fruit, or you might just do kale, or tomatoes are a little bit tricky. They need a specific environment for them to grow in. Or cucumber, you might just choose a couple of things. It doesn't have to be totally everything you put on the plate. So really important for you to understand that it doesn't have to be everything. It just needs to be some things. And going organic is always the best way to go, even though organic is still picked green. We talk about the whole element of picking our fruit and vegetables green. They're immature. They haven't acquired all the nutritional value that usually is acquired when on the tree or in the ground. When it's picked green, you stop that process. So the amount of nutrients in your fresh produce is limited. So organic is obviously, picked green. So you can look into local farmers markets. They might possibly have their fresh produce, on the trees or in the ground for a little bit longer, as opposed to fruit shops, because of the transportation period. So ask them, when did you pick this apple? When did you pick this pear? When do you pick your vegetables for the Sunday market? And ahead of time which grocer to go to, because of their farming practices and what they do to keep production ongoing and effective for consumers to have a huge array of product available to them. So ask the questions, understand the process, but really recognize that eating clean comes from the first point of call, and then incorporating vitamins secondly. And herbal medicine is a completely different perspective. It comes from the position of physiologically improving the state of health a person's in, and it's got a complete collection of nutrients and vitamins in the herb, as opposed to a segmented or isolated one that you typically get in the vitamin. Now, if you've got any questions on this topic, I know it's pretty complicated, and I've tried to keep it very simple and straightforward, but obviously various medical conditions will require different nutrient intakes of various vitamins and supplements. So with that requirement, it's more specific, and obviously I can't really disclose what needs what. That's something that you best do with your health practitioner, and they'll be able to direct you down the path that you need to go. And also choosing companies that are provide the quality and the effectiveness of the vitamin, and get you the results that you're looking for in consuming that. Well, that's it for today for Salubra Skin with Dr. Irene, and I hope you leave any comments or questions below. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you can receive weekly emails in your inbox, and any questions or anything you want us to cover in future episodes, please let us know, and I'll be sure to either share that knowledge from me or look for an expert in that field to give you the knowledge that you're requiring to have. And have a great day, and we'll catch you soon.